And ladies and gentlemen, we started off with the youth. We started off with the youth because that is what the People's National Movement is about. So I want to bring to the stage at this time a young, vibrant woman who's going to open the baton for us this evening. PNM family, put your hands together and welcome Shonne John as our youth speaker this evening. Make some noise.
Executive, Member of Parliament and candidate for Tobago East, Mrs. Ayanna Webster Roy, Member of Parliament and candidate for Tobago West, Mrs. Champa Kojo Lewis, Minority Leader, Kelvon Morris, and to you, my PNM family. Tonight, we gather not just as supporters of a party, but as believers in a vision of progress, strength, and unwavering leadership. Tonight, we're not just talking politics. We're talking progress. We're talking power. We're talking PNM. Family, we are at a crossroads. The next election is right around the corner. And this is not just another vote. It's about choosing between noise and progress, between confusion and competence, between Mama Guy and moving forward. We have leaders on this side who build, uplift, and empower. And then we have leaders on the other side who only know how to ramage, gallery, and run away. Now let's talk about our strong, steady, and serious MP, Ayanna Webster Roy. She's not about the bacchanal, she's about the work. She's not about the talk, she's about the walk. She's not here for likes and shares. Working. From Mason Hall to Cutler Hall, from Dallaford to Goodwood, not for a show, not for the cameras, but for you. She is out here listening, acting, and delivering. She doesn't need flashy lights and big announcements to do her job. She's been quietly delivering for the people of Tobago East. For 9 years, she has worked for us, giving us a new hospital, a modern police station, a fully equipped fire station. Silently, consistently, she has been doing the work across the length and breadth of Tobago East, making sure development happens where it matters most. And if you think she's only working in Tobago, let me remind you, this woman is making moves at the national level too. She unveiled braille copies of the National Strategic Action Plan on Gender-Based Violence, ensuring our visual impaired citizens have access to critical information. That's inclusion. She led the Women's Entrepreneurial Development and Product Expo in Scarborough, empowering over 50 women entrepreneurs. That's economic growth. She stood up for victims of domestic abuse, ensuring more support for women in danger. That's real advocacy. She hosted a massive International Women's Day event at the Sid Gray Complex, strengthening support for women in Tobago East. That's leadership. This is real service. This is real representation. So I have to ask Tobago, do we want a leader who only loves the spotlight? Or do we want a leader who works even when no one is watching? Now let's talk about the other options. First up, we know his style, plenty song, plenty dance, plenty gallery for a while. But when it's time to lead, he ducks, dodges, and disappears. Thought done. What does Tobago have to show for his years? And then there's the other candidates. Now, be honest with me. Who? Where was he when Tobago? Now let's talk about who gives young people a chance. Some people just talk about youth. PNM puts us in the room. Look at Kareem Marcel, a young man from Beetham, not yet an MP, not yet a minister, but already making waves because PNM does not shut young people out, they bring us in. Look at Jada Charles, a young ambassador, a national youth parliamentarian, a young powerful voice shaping policy and proving that young people don't just belong at the table, we belong at the head of it. Look at Denisha Manning, making waves in the space, a young motivational speaker and trailblazer. And look at me. I'm standing here today not because of who I know, not because of a last name, not because the PNM recognizes, but because the PNM recognizes talent, passion, and potential. They don't stifle us, they support us. They don't sideline us, they spotlight us. They don't hold us back, they push us forward. Brothers and sisters, we are all in. We are 41 candidates strong, a party of strength, stability, and class. A party that is here to work for you. Vote for your future. Vote for your children. Vote for progress. The choice is clear. We're not taking that chance. Fellow Tobagonians, we've given them a chance. And what did they do? They took our jobs. They stifled our opportunities. And now they're playing politics in our faces, pretending they care. But their actions tell a different story. Tobago, open your eyes. You gave them the opportunity in 2021 and they failed us. Are we going to give them more authority to continue playing in our faces? Or are we going to continue trusting in Ayanna Webster Roy, the woman who has been there for us since 2015? When election day arrives, remember these words, my friends. Vote for leadership, not for those who hold us back. Vote for a vision that moves us forward, not for those who disappear when it's time to deliver. Vote for Ayanna Webster Roy and the PNM because we believe in a future that works for all of us. The red train is on the move, brothers and sisters, and Tobago East is riding with the PNM. And when the night of April 28 arrives, and the polls have closed, and the counting has finished, we will be victorious. When the results come in, we will stand proud, and we will all sing together, loud and clear. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the People's National Movement, and we shall prevail. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Come, we could do better than that. We could do better than that, man. You hear young people? Proper thing. And we don't write to young people's speech either. They just write it themselves. You hear proper thing? Make some noise, Peter. Make some noise. This election on April 28th is about putting our young people first. It's about making sure that we continue the good work that was started by Dr. Rowley and will continue by Prime Minister Stuart Young. That foundation that was laid 9 years, 10 years by Dr. Rowley's government, we got to build on that foundation, PNM family. We got to build on that foundation, Tobago. We're keeping it going. We're bringing a man to the stage that is no stranger to you, to Tobago, and Trinidad and Tobago. Recently, the man made a statement that bring out some bigwigs in the union business. Because the minority leader, one is enough. Boxing above his class, boxing above his weight. But when he boxing, he knocking out men. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together. Make some noise for the area representative for Daryl Spring, the minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly. One is enough. Brother Kelvin Morris.
PNM, 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 PNM.
We getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one.
PNM family, PNM family, PNM family, good night. Let me first start by test. Testing. Yes. So let me say good night again to my PNM brothers and sisters. How you feeling? We're looking good in we red, and tonight is the first night we're together launching this campaign in support of Sister Shamfa and Sister Ayana. Of course, permit me to recognize our political leader, Ansel Dennis.
Of course, our two PNM standard bearers and the next Tobago representatives for Tobago East, Ayana Webster Roy, and Tobago West, Mrs. Shamfa Cudjoe Lewis. Of course, I also want to recognize in our midst our youth speaker, Ms. Shawnee John, who did so excellent with that speech. And there again, you see PNM product, PNM people representing at all levels. Tonight, brothers and sisters, I came originally with one simple task. And that task was simply to thank both MP Ayana Webster Roy and MP Shamfa Cudjoe for the work they have done over the last 10 years in ensuring that Tobago was represented with class, with dignity, and with pride. And more than that, for delivering where their predecessors in the TOP failed. Because you see, history will show that together, between Ayana and Shamfa representing us here in Tobago and being part of a central government led by a Tobago-born Prime Minister, they have delivered to Tobago the highest level of development in the history of Tobago. And that is not just my opinion. but it is an undisputed fact. Because we will recall before Shamfa and Ayana took office, we had two persons who would have represented us before as part of the People's Partnership Government. And when Mr. Ashwell Jack handed those two Tobago seats to Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa, and we have to ask ourselves the question, we must remember, the question is, what did Tobago get in return for those two seats? It was shame after shame. Remember, it was nippling and shopping. It was disgrace after disgrace, no development, no progress, nothing. And I want you to compare that to what Ayana and Shamfa have achieved. And they have done it with such a level of efficiency, no sort of gathering, but just doing the people's work. You could remember we had two police stations shut down, shelled by Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa and the TOP. Under Ayana and Shamfa, that was delivered. You will remember the long promised Roxborough Fire Station, delivered. You remember when we had the challenges with fast ferry. Under Ayana and Shamfa, we bought two new fast ferries for Tobago, delivered. The much needed hospital in Tobago East, delivered. And of course, the brand new world-class ANR Robinson International Airport, delivered. So under Ayana and Shamfa, it has been delivery after delivery after delivery for the people of Tobago. And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it could have been more. Had it not been for this obstructionist, arrogant, and immature Tobago House of Assembly, led by a leader that just don't know how to do his job. Just imagine, and I'll share you on this question of don't know how to do their jobs, and on the question of incompetence. I would share with you two examples. One quickly. Just last week, we have one day in the month where we go to the House to debate motions that's supposed to be issues that are important to you, the people of Tobago. Last week, these jokers took us to the House to debate a motion about having the Assembly Legislature listed as a heritage site. And it took the wit, the experience of Minority Councillor Petal Daniel Benoit to advise them, to guide them, and to teach them how to do their work. Because an issue like that did not need the intervention of the Tobago House of Assembly Legislature. As a matter of fact, the PNM did it before, and the PNM did it quite easily. The PNM registered Fort King George as a heritage site, and of course the rainforest as a heritage site. And we did that simply by following the process, which is properly outlined online. And therefore Petal had to show them, send them to the website so that they could now go and do their work. And that again is a prime example of how incompetent these people you place to run Tobago's affairs are. And therefore the question is, I think this is a no contest. Because if they are incompetent in the Tobago House of Assembly, how do we expect them to be competent to represent the people of Tobago in Trinidad? But brothers and sisters, just today was another prime example, not only of their incompetence, but remember we told you there's a disease amongst those members in the Tobago House of Assembly. That disease is called liabilities. They lie and they lie and they lie till they forget that they lie. And again, just last week, I had to show the Secretary of Tourism lying through her teeth, saying to Tobagonians that the Virgin flight was bringing only 2 and 5 and 6 people. And I had to pull the facts and the data and show under the PNM, I don't know if under them, they were coming with 2 and 5. But under the PNM, we were bringing hundreds and hundreds of persons through that Virgin flight to Tobago.
And again today, so we heard the announcement about the unfortunate withdrawal of Mr. Buju Banton. Because I guess all of us, like you, I too was looking forward to the concert. Buju is one of my favorite reggae artists, and therefore I was quite excited. But you see, they told you half of the truth. Because while, yes, situations happen, and of course, we sympathize, we empathize with Mr. Banton, but there's more in that story than meets the eye, and more in the mortar than in the pestle. And I come to share with you some of the things that I know that is in there, and perhaps there's even more. And therefore, as minority leader, I take it as my prime responsibility to where they are telling you lies, to bring to you the facts. And tonight I lay to you some very concerning information about that arrangement. Because I see people saying and asking the question, why this have to be about politics? And I would say, anything that involves taxpayers' money must be about politics, must be about accountability, must be about transparency. And therefore we will ask the questions and we'll bring the information. And you see, there have been a number of contradictions when it comes to this issue. And the first contradiction I want to play and remind the people of today, because it was your alert minority, your PNM minority, who asked the question about this Rhythm and Soul Festival. So I'm going to ask you to play the first clip where this question of this festival was asked in the House. And I want you to pay attention to the response of the Councillor, Secretary for Tourism, Ms. Tashia Boris. So I have a couple clips, so you just bear with me please, because I want us to be able to follow the process and how this evolved. And perhaps you see, perhaps they don't, okay. So we need some audio. Yeah. All right, the technology seems to be failing us at this time, but I will summarize. So, all right. So basically, a question was asked in the House to the Secretary, and when that question was posed to the Secretary about this issue of the budget, At that time, we had absolutely no clue that this venture was a venture that was a public-private partnership. So we asked a genuine question about the budget, and the secretary took the opportunity to boast and gallivant that they were doing like the PNM. They had shut down the jazz and they are moving away, and what they are doing now is partnering with private entities, and in partnering with private entities, all they would do is support and facilitate. And therefore, this event, this Rhythm and Soul event, was in fact a public-private venture between the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited and a private promoter. Today, to my amazement, fast forward to today, at this press conference, when the CEO was asked about this public-private partnership and the private promoter, to my amazement, and I would have really liked you to hear the clip, the CEO was clear that there was never, I want to repeat this, there was never any private promoter. There was never any public-private partnership. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is, who is lying? Because in the house, on the Hansard, the records of the house, the secretary would have spoke affirmatively, confirming that there was a public-private arrangement between the Festivals Commission and a private promoter. And she went further, because when she was pressed by Councillor Benoit as to who is this private promoter, while she did not supply the name then and there, she subsequently, by way of a written response, indicated that the name of the private promoter was a company called High Frequency Entertainment Limited. So there you have it. Not only did she confirm that there was a private promoter, but she also provided the name of the private promoter. So interestingly, you have a minority and a PNM collaborating with our political leader who do our work, and we went to work on who is this private promoter. And I can tell you, brothers and sisters, so we looked up the name of this company. And when we looked up the name of this company, we recognized that this company was registered sometime on the 29th of October 2018. But we went one further. We checked the company registry. And in checking the company registry to see the status of the company, to our amazement, this very company that the THA would have identified as a company that they are doing business with is listed as struck off. I want to repeat that to you, my PNM family, and to every Tobagonian, especially ones who are on Facebook questioning me as to why I could confidently say the THA and the THA representatives are liars. This company is listed as struck off, and for persons who may not know what that means in terms of business registration, it means that the company, while it was registered, it ceased to exist and is no longer compliant under the regulations of the Company Act, and therefore it is inactive. And so the questions I therefore would ask of the secretary, and she must answer, we must demand answers from her. How could the THA enter into an arrangement with a company that is inactive? Who authorized this arrangement? Was there any due diligence done at all? Because how could it be that your competent PNM party and PNM minority could have done a simple search and recognize that this company is no longer a company that is active. And here it was. They are taking, I want you to listen to this, $10 million. This is no little bit of money in a people. $10 million. And going into an arrangement with a company who is listed on the Company Act as struck off. So for all the persons who are on Facebook today telling me this is not about politics, I tell them tonight, yes, this is about politics because the people of Tobago, we have $10 million jumping up in this arrangement. Brothers and sisters, but it gets even more interesting because if we are to accept, okay, if we take the reverse, that there was never a private promoter, if we are to accept that truth as fact, then there's still more questions to be had and more questions to answer. Because one would therefore have to ask themselves, who really secured Buju Banton, if not that private promoter? But I want to read one more thing. I feel I hope you could give me a little 5 minutes, please. I want to read one more thing. So when I first raised this matter, both festivals and the Tobago Tourism, Division of Tourism jumped out with press releases. And interestingly, I want to read something coming out from the Tobago Festival's press release. And it says, press release of Monday, January 27, 2025. It says, to clarify the promoter's role, the commission was presented with a business proposal for reggae icon Buju Banton to perform in Tobago. I want all of you to follow this. It was a promoter who brought to the festivals this artist, Buju Banton, to perform in Tobago. And therefore they are saying the promoter's involvement is to arrange and secure the artist. So you understand where we're going with this? The promoter, who they're now saying does not exist, his role was to arrange and secure the artist who will be compensated for his performance. So I don't know, if there's no promoter, then perhaps it's not surprising that there's no artist. And I mean, that is simple logic. And therefore, once again, we have an administration that we just cannot trust their words. And on the issue of trust, let us just recall the issue of Audio Gate. You all remember that? It happened while this administration tried to deceive the public, and it was exposed by a secret recording. And then do you all remember the $300 million that was spirited away on 4 roads, dishonestly telling us that those roads were for emergency? Imagine we have celebrated 3 carnivals since then, and the roads still have not been completed. And what about the $165 million paid, awarded to a contractor that still cannot finish one of those very emergency roads on a design build finance? And when we ask the questions, all we get is lie, lie, and more lie. We just can't trust them. And therefore, we have 2 young women, Tobago women, who have walked the walk, talked the talk, represented us again with integrity. Imagine for 10 years we have 2 representatives and nobody could point a finger at none of them. And I am saying to you, my brothers and sisters, not just of the PNM, but fellow Tobagonians, if it not broke, not fix it. And if you have MPs and representatives like Shamfa and Ayana, let us continue. We are all in with Ayana and Shamfa. And as we get those results coming in, on the night of the 28th of April, when Tobago East called in first, Ayana has won, and in Tobago West, Shamfa has won. We will all sing in one united voice. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is our God, and we have prevailed. I thank you.
I like how the crowd calling for the music. I like how the crowd calling for the music. Come, Mr. DJ, don't stick, don't stick.
Let's do this right. Let's do this now. Let's do this together. Let's do this right.
Brothers and sisters,
Let's do this together.
brothers and sisters, you see why one is enough? You see why one is enough? One is enough. One is enough for now. One is enough for now to keep them in check. But we have to make sure when the time comes for us to correct that. We had a 4 or a 5. No, we had a 4. Yeah? We had a 4. You're on 50 nil. Alright. Alright, we had enough 5. You see, we had one already. So we're making sure we add 14 to the one that we have, correct? Matson? Alright, you know Matson? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, make some noise for the minority leader, Brother Kelvin Morris. If it had no promoter, alright, liabilities. If it had no promoter, then it had no show. And if it had no promoter to make the contract with the artist, then it had no artist. Alright. Brothers and sisters, as we continue, I want you to make some noise for the people on the platform. Make some noise. Make some noise for the people on the platform. Make some noise for the political leader of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, Brother Ansel Dennis. Make some noise. Make some noise for the candidate for Tobago East, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Diana Webster Roy. Come on, man, make some noise. Make some noise for the candidate for Tobago West. The roaring. Sister Shamfa Control Lewis, listen, but I want to say something. Brother Lewis doing a good job. Brother, make some noise for the man who just brought you the facts, the minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, Brother Kelvin Morris. And make some noise again. She set the stage. The youth speaker, man, make some noise for Shirley Judge. Listen, I don't know about you, but the PNM platform is the right platform. It's the right platform. Say it's the right platform. Yes. We keep it going. Joining us on the boundary. Well, they say it's a kind of boundary between Tobago East and Tobago West where we sit. I want you to make some noise for a woman who since 2016, no man, long before that, 2010, I want to know, since 2010 has proven herself as a true representative of the people of Tobago. Brothers and sisters, put your hands together as we bring to the stage Minister of Sport and Community Development and the candidate for Tobago West and the next MP for Tobago West, Sister Shamfa Control Lewis.
PNM coming. PNM coming.
hearty good evening to our Tobago political leader, Mr. Ansel Dennis, my sister in service, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy, our PRO of the party, Mr. Lawrence Hislop, our minority councillor, Mr. Kelvin Morris, and our dynamic youth speaker, Shelley. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You set the place on fire this evening. It's a privilege to hear the young people speak, because a lot of the young people are being misled. A lot of the young people are being fooled. So it's always a privilege to hear young people come to the fore and say, I know what the PNM have done, and I am standing with the PNM. I want to thank you. This evening, I am happy to see so many of you making your way here to Mount Grace. The young, the not so young, the old school PNM, and we have some first-time voters in the midst. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for making the right choice. I want to welcome you to our first public meeting. 23 more days to go, or I like to say roughly 3 weeks. These are very, very important times, and every single day counts. Every single hour counts, every minute, every second, because as quickly as they spread their lies, we have to rebut. A matter of fact, we have to get at the forefront and spread the good gospel, I can dare say, of the People's National Movement, who we are, what we represent, and what we bring to the table. So we are called upon at a time like this to make serious decisions as to who will lead the country for the next stage of our development. And it's important that I spend some time on what type of elections we are facing, because people are being duped, people are being tricked, or people are being lied to, they are being misinformed deliberately. So they make their way to homes, riling up the people about matters that they themselves did not fix while they are in power here in the Tobago House of Assembly. Roads, drains, playing fields, and so on that they themselves ought to fix. They are going about riling up the people and telling them that it's the responsibility of the MPs. And when people say they have a problem, they say, well, we will fix that for you. You've been sitting there for roughly 4 years, and you didn't fix it then. In your capacity, under your remit, with the allocations that you have been granted, and you have gotten all your money, but you're tricking the people and telling them that the central government did not send money. It is about what they chose to do with the money. It is about their priorities. So what they didn't do then, in their 3 to 4 years, with the responsibility and the authority that they have, they are now coming to try to trick you, to tell you that if you give them 2 seats, they're going to make it happen. But we are the People's National Movement, and we are not fighting for 2 seats. We are working to get into government, a full government, under one party, one color, same moral values, same. Tell you they are looking for 39 candidates because they have 2 in Tobago under the TPP. And the TPP themselves, they're only looking for 2 seats because they have their other 39 friends. Well, Kamala can't find 39 fully yet. But that is the plan. And we have seen where that has taken us before. When they came to you and tell you they're going down to Trinidad to give you internal self-government and they're going to negotiate, and they got put out of the cabinet. So we have to act like we're big, and we have sense. These are serious times, and it is important that you understand the difference as it relates to the election that we are about to fight. This is a general election. We are run by a Westminster system. First past the post. So the party with the largest number of seats for the government. Yes? The party with the largest number of seats for the government. And the party with the largest number of seats chooses a prime minister from the winners of the seat. In the People's National Movement, we can say elusively clear that we have fielded 41 strong, solid, sober, and sane candidates. We advertised, we had a call asking you to search your communities, search your party groups, go look for the brightest and the best. Go look for people who are going to have a solid representation and have a strong voice to speak for you. People who understand what is going on, people who are going to deliver, not only people who are going to go down there to fight, but people who are going to represent, people who are going to stand up and be your voice and do the work, the parliamentary work, the work in the constituency, the service, the walking, the talking, the representation. And if you have not been doing that for the last 3-4 years, it's interesting to see you all of a sudden on turbo blast trying to do it now and expect the people to be impressed by that. We have been walking our constituency at least once every month. I can say so since January 2016, every single month. This is no show. This is no show. This is about consistency. This is about being constant. This is about always being right there with you every single step of the way from 2015 to 2025. Anytime you need us, you can reach out for us and expect that we would stand in the gap for you and we would represent. We cannot say the same about the other candidates for the other party. But I want to take you back to the type of elections that we are having. So don't be fooled. This is not the Tobago House of Assembly elections. Because as you go from house to house, people would raise a number of THA-related issues. Because that is what affects us day to day. So if you're upset about your day-to-day living and these THA issues, in a couple months, you'll have the opportunity to have your say. This is about a general election as to where we are going to take Trinidad and Tobago as one united nation. That is what this election is about. And as I said to you before, the party with the most seats would form the government. With the TPP, with only 2 seats, can they form the government? With the Michaela and the party, I forget the name. Can they form the government, the Patriotic Front? Do they have 41 candidates? And even if they have 48 candidates, they ain't pushing no weight over here for sure. So, will they form the next government? At the end of the day, it is the People's National Movement that has 41 candidates. Telling the same story, presenting the same mandate, making the same promises that we are sure to deliver. We are not here telling you we're going to give you a 10% raise when we know very well at the end of the day where you're getting the money from. At the end of the day, if you're going to make these proposals, and there's nothing wrong with making these proposals, but if you go in and tell me you're going and buy me an expensive handbag, you have to tell me where you're getting the money from. If you're telling me, or you're carrying me down by penny savers to buy out the grocery, I want to know where you're getting the money from. You have to show that to me to convince me for me to go down there with you. I'm not jumping in your car and go blindly. A matter of fact, I'm not jumping in the back seat of no drunken driver to take me nowhere. So brothers and sisters, the TPP and the others like them need to tell us who they're going and team up with to form this government. Where they're getting the other 39 seats from. Yes? Nobody else but the UNC. So you have to be clear and honest and frank with us. Yes? And if you're so about forming this government, then who from the 39 friends you pick up from the UNC go in and be the prime minister? Nobody but Kamala, who has no plan, no vision, no direction, has no clue where she's taking us, don't know the difference between her knee and her elbow. What kind of bandwagon you taking your people on? What type of bandwagon are you taking your people on? So it's one thing to walk about and get the people excited. It's all well and good. That's what elections are about in some way. Yeah, mobilizing the vote and getting people to support you. But you have to tell people, where are you taking their vote? You have to tell people who going to be their leader. And if it's Kamala going to be your prime minister, you need to tell them that too, because Tobagonians know what the UNC gives. We know exactly what the UNC stands for. We have been fooled before. From Morgan Job to Nathaniel to all of them who went down there and promised us that they're going for internal self-government and they're going to be the voice. The UNC drowned them. The UNC stifled them. And they came back with nothing to give to the people of Tobago. So it's all about making a comparison, because you've seen the PNM at work. You've seen the UNC at work at the level of the central government. And you have to compare who has represented your views, who has been your voice, and who has delivered. When we talk about the type of delivery that we have put down in Tobago, show me what the UNC had done for you. Show me how the UNC had improved your lives. We stand on a long, strong history of standing in the gap for our people. And we in Tobago know all too well that it is under the People's National Movement where we have seen the bulk of our development. From the PNM coming into power in Tobago around 2000, 2001, we built schools, new schools, primary and secondary schools. I tell the young people today, and they look at me surprised. There was no Goodwood High School. There was no Speyside High School. There was no Mason Hall High School. The People's National Movement built that. Show me one school the TPP built in Tobago. Show me one school the UNC built in Tobago. In addition to that, we talk about free education, social support to our people, access to grants like National Commission of Self-Help, water tank assistance for you. It's the same way they had brought and got people to support the PDP. And then they themselves named to the QTP or the TPP or whatever they call themselves. In strong, solid, sober, sane leadership. People with a track record in the end of the day. This is the conversation you need to have with the candidates when they knock on your door. How do you intend to raise money? You would raise the old age pension. You remember that. Don't pretend you forget. And the many lies that they told us Monday after Monday behind the TPP, back into the hands of the UNC for some bloggers and people on the social media calling themselves influencers who are willing to take $40,000 to sell out. And when you talk to some of the people who have received the money, they say, yes, I took the money. It's $40,000. People tempted to take the $40,000. Yeah, we take the $40,000. They say we take the $40,000, but we're not voting them. But in doing so, you would have misled your brothers and sisters. You would have misled people who do not know better. You would have thrown away the future of the little children who are not old enough to vote. You would have thrown away opportunities for those of us who work hard for Trinidad and Tobago. We have to be focused. We have to be grounded. We have to recognize what is truly at stake as we're dealing with this nation-building business. The People's National Movement has always been about education and opportunities for all. We in Tobago know it all too well. In order to make it, when you get to 17, 18 years old, those of us, all of us, we had aunties and uncles in America, you had to leave in order to prosper. A lie? It is the People's National Movement that brought educational opportunities and opportunities to entrepreneurship to us. Back then, if you had a business idea, you go home and you write it in the book. There was no BDU and no grants and so on for you. The People's National Movement has transformed our lifestyle, transformed our standard of living, so that everybody has a chance to make it. Even if you went to school and you drop out, there's MIC, CCC, courses, you name it, we can claim it. Brothers and sisters, and you have seen the People's National Movement deliver the Roxborough Hospital, the Scarborough Hospital. We're not leasing ferries or renting ferries. We purchased ferries. And at that point, that same UNC they're trying to lead us to told them that it was too much money to spend on Tobago. Do you remember that? And they want to know what Ayana and Shamfa did for Tobago. We have stood in the gap. We have been that voice. We have been responsible for putting all Tobagoan brothers and sisters in contact with to be helped by the grants and the opportunities from the central government. You look around, the PNM can talk about what we have built and what we have done and the investments that we have made that others had promised for decades, but they felt like it was too much money to spend in Tobago. Those of us who say the PNM have done nothing, just ask them, well, what have they, show me what the UNC do. And if that is too far for you, show me what the TPP do. What did they do? Other than a roundabout with a road to nowhere. And that was built with $100 million of your taxpayers' money for your development program. That was supposed to be a central government project handled by the central government. And those of them over here in the TPP said they would handle it themselves and took $100 million of your money, your development money. So understand when I tell you it is all about priorities. What else can they show you? A stage in the sea. What else can they show you? What have they delivered? With the billions that they have received over the years, at least $7 billion. Am I right? What did they do? Does it look like $7 billion passed through here anywhere? Watson said he could see it on their faces. But I wouldn't go there. But brothers and sisters, seriously, at the end of the day, we can boast or we can speak to. I would prefer to say speak to, because at the end of the day, it's national service. So there is no boast to make. This is what we were hired to do. This is what we were voted in to do. Brothers and sisters, this is the Ayana Webster Roy and the Shamfa Kojo who sat at the cabinet and had Roxborough Hospital built, sat at the cabinet and had the administrative complex in Roxborough built, sat at the cabinet and had Roxborough Fire Station, Roxborough Police Station, and you tell me Ayana Webster Roy has not delivered for Tobago East? It is under Shamfa Shaki Kojo Lewis and Ayana Webster Roy where we had finally the sorting of the Hillsborough Dam in order to give water reliability and sustainability to Tobagoanians both in Tobago East and Tobago West. It is Shamfa and Ayana at the cabinet that had delivered booster stations in Cotton Hill, in Culloden, in French Fort, in Chauvin. We built 2 wells, we drilled 2 wells in the Bad Hill area to improve water reliability in Tobago East and in Tobago to Apex. Well, not Apex again, we're calling down there now. to Storby, loan me 2 more minutes. But we have plenty things to tell. We have plenty things to tell. Financial videos to pretend that they now receive the grant and them. Lalan Gordon Fund had been in existence. They set up last year when you had spent 3.5 years doing. There's so many things we can talk about because it's lost. They cut off Tobago from all the assistance from Trinidad and resume self-help. All government money is about to be spent in Tobago. Who else? About to be spent in Tobago. Who else? Show me another representative that stood in the gap for us before Ayanna Webster Roy and Shamfa Ashaki Kojo that had delivered. And the list goes on. If I had more time, I would tell you so much more. But even as they say, we have done nothing. Show us. Tell them, show us. Well, what others had done for you. And if you don't like this, so this is not good for you, show me what the UNC had done for you. A matter of fact, show me what you, the TPP, had done for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember that we have more work to do because an airport is a game changer. We now need them for a 10 on, 10 off on the off days. What we gonna do? We are not only building for today, we are building for tomorrow. It is not only about us, but the little children who are coming up so that they can have opportunities for employment, education, and entrepreneurship. The same children want to access the same gate to go out there and study and come back and develop Tobago, brothers and sisters. $40,000 means nothing. When you look at that. Into their stories, they say, well, the last time this one, the TPP promised me this, and they say they would have given me this, and they would have given me that. Because they're using the same concept of Kamala. Promise you the world to get your vote, and then when they get in, tell you you misunderstood. A lot of them went and voted for the TPP based on their promises, and today they have received precious nothing. And you say, not me, but I have to talk to you PNM people too, because the last time plenty of you stay home. The last time plenty of you stay home. And now you have to live with that decision that you made. I want to tell you something. When you stay home in your house, it is just as good as voting for Kamala. When you stay home in your house, then people with bad intentions and planning to give you a vote for Kamala, they're getting up early and they go in and place their vote. So as much as you stay in your house and you pray and you make up your mind and that kind of thing, how you expect to get change? How you expect to get opportunities for your children? How you expect to undo what you did the last time? This is the time for you to get up and to stand up. We still have people to save. We still have a country to build. We live here. There is no place to run to. Back then we used to be able to run to the US for opportunities, but Trump is turning us back. We have to make this environment, this community, this Tobago good for all of us. So don't you get slack in your riding. Don't you give up on this work that we have to do. Don't you give up on this journey that we have to do. To whom much is given, much is expected. Because many of us in the PNM heydays, we benefited. Our children went to school. We got jobs. We got food support. I'm not saying that we were perfect. But every single one of us have benefited from what this country has to offer. And you see these little ones, they are depending on you. Don't let $40,000 turn you stupid. This is all work to do. And nobody is going to do it for us. Nobody going to come out of the sky or come out from nowhere to save us. This is all work to do. Get up, get out there and rock the vote. Bring the vote out. Knock on every single door. Talk to every single person and have them understand what we are up against and what is expected of us and what we need to do to restore decency and order in Tobago and in Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of what we're fighting is not only physical, it's also spiritual. Because there is like a culture forcing you to hate, forcing you to fight, forcing you to just do and say evil things. I've seen the social media posts. You throw all your racial rants all through the year, and now you expect me to come on to you because you're of peace and unity? Know thyself, Tobagonians. Understand who we are and what we represent. We are the People's National Movement. Same red, same logo, same mandate to stand in the gap for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We've brought you through independence, republicanism. We've brought you through so much development in education and industrialization so we can enjoy this quality of life. It's about maintaining a solid economy so we can enjoy a better quality of life, not only for ourselves, for our little children. Brothers and sisters, mind your business. Mind your business. And there's so much going into false advertising and AI and selling you incorrect stories so that you would not so much so you could go out and vote for the UNC, but for you to stay home. If you stay home, crap or smoke your pipe, and you have to live in this craziness some more. If you make that mistake and put the UNC in power, a vote for the PNM is a vote for the PNM. A vote for the TPP is a vote for the UNC. A vote for the PNM is a vote for Stuart Richard Young as your Prime Minister, an upstanding, just, wise, loving, caring leader we have in Stuart Richard Young. I served with him in opposition and I've served with him in government. This is the man for the job. You can't tell me he's good enough to go around the world to negotiate energy deals and so on so that we can have the money for a better standard of living, but he's not good enough to lead. You understand what I'm saying? And when you put Stuart Richard Young up against Kamala, because a vote for the TPP, a vote for any one of them is a vote for Kamala. A vote for them is a vote for Kamala as your Prime Minister and the UNC going there once again to rape the Treasury. This is your responsibility. Get up, get out there, knock on every door, and get voters to the polls so that we can save this country. We could continue on a path to development and progress and do what we have to do for Tobago, do what we have to do for Trinidad and Tobago, and to be all in for our children and the future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Shamfa Shaki Kojo Lewis, your Member of Parliament for Tobago West and your candidate in the upcoming election on April 28th. I give you no other than Ayanna Webster Roy. Sober and solid, steady and committed, your lady of service, your warrior, your voice, and we have a track record that we can show. What do they have to show you? So ladies and gentlemen, what you see is what you get in the People's National Movement. Tried, tested and true. Always right there with you. On April 28th, when we count the votes, whether you come out early or late, we'll reach right here, or somewhere in Market Square, where we would say, great, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. I thank you.
PNM people. Thing to talk, but time not there. Yeah, man, I sing it. All the songing good. The songing good. The crowd say, play the tune, DJ, play the tune. Let me see you. Yes, yes, yes. The question is whether you are ready to gamble 2 seats for only 45 minutes of speaking time. That is the reality. Whether or not you want to gamble a seat at the table, a seat that brings about airport and ferries and hospital and police station to just talk. That is the question that you have to ask them when they come to you, brothers and sisters. I want to also say that a house divided cannot stand, and oil and water don't mix. Iron and clay don't mix. And so when you have the PNM, is one color, one symbol, one leader, one ideology, one set of policy coming from the PNM. When you mix up, you're going to end up in trouble. At this time, brothers and sisters, we want to bring on a lady, sober, silent, diligent, stable. Kevin doing a real good job. Yeah? We want to bring on, brothers and sisters, the Minister of Gender and Child Affairs, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, the Member of Parliament for Tobago East, and the lady who will bring it home once again. Put your hands together. Make some noise. Make some noise. Make some noise, PNM people, for Sister Ayanna Webster-Roy.
Mount Grace, how we feeling? Tobago East, how we feeling? Tobago West Passy, how we feeling? Tobago, we feeling good. Real good night. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Allow me to recognize at the head table, political leader Tobago, Mr. Ansel Dennis. I want to recognize my sister in service. I might be quiet, but Shamfa just bring the fire all the time. I want to recognize my sister in service, Shamfa Kojo Lewis. Allow me to recognize also a minority leader, Mr. Kelvin Morris. They say one is enough, and he has proven himself. And I really want to big up Miss Shanae John. Shanae, as a fellow country girl, I feel proud tonight. Well done, Shanae. Now, I want to have a conversation with you, my family from Mount Grace and various communities in Tobago East and Tobago West, and people might be viewing us online. I want to have a serious conversation with you, because throughout the last few weeks while I've been walking and engaging people in Tobago, they have been saying, well, what central government did for Tobago? Tobago hasn't been benefiting from central government. What you and Shamfa did for us. And I've been using the time to educate the people of Tobago to understand the very important investment that would have been made on behalf of you, the people of Tobago, through the central government. Firstly, when the journey started with our own Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, and as the journey continues again with a young, passionate, committed individual, a man who has shown love to Tobago, a man who has walked with us in our journey to development, who has invested in the people of Tobago by sacrificing his time, his energy to go out and negotiate deals on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and keeping at his heart the development of our nation. And I speak of none other than my friend, my colleague, a gentleman in whom I'm well pleased, none other than Stuart Young, our Prime Minister. Now, I want to tackle the issue of social development, because on my walks throughout Tobago East, and even engaging people in Tobago, there has been a cry for social support. While I was sitting there, I received a message from a young lady, reaching out, crying for help. Help that we know should really and truly come from the Division of Health, Wellness, and Social Protection. Because, mind you, there is a role and a function for the Tobago House of Assembly. All of we are Tobago people, and we all have been clamoring for more autonomy, greater autonomy. More so the people who are in charge of the THA today. They have been clamoring for more opportunity to lead and to take control. They have been arguing, advocating, and in some instances confusing Tobagonians that what they want is not really more autonomy, but indeed secession. So they have their work to do. But I was sitting there looking at my phone, and a message coming in from a Tobagonian woman asking for help that really and truly should have come from the Division of Health, Wellness, and Social Protection. But she had to reach out to the MP. Well, I still carry the hat although Parliament dissolved. She had to reach out to the MP because reaching out to the requisite division, help wasn't forthcoming. But they like to tell us central government ain't doing nothing for people in Tobago. We're not helping anybody. I want you to understand, my brothers and sisters, between 2019 to date, when it comes to persons in Tobago benefiting directly from public assistance, we have over 10,000 persons in Tobago who benefit between that period, 2019 to date, from direct investment from the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. The total cost to central government supporting Tobagonians would have been $15,815,840. That was just part of the investment made by the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services in ensuring vulnerable persons in Tobago are well taken care of. When it comes to public assistance, specifically public assistance alone, from 2015 to date, over $68 million was expended by the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services in Tobago, benefiting families and individuals on our island. And they like to say central government ain't doing nothing for Tobago. When it comes to disability grants, over $80 million has been expended in Tobago between 2015 to date, again, through the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. And when it comes to disability grant for children, a policy that was introduced around 2020, our Ministry of Social Development and Family Services ensure that our children in Tobago benefited. So through the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, we see central government investing in the people of Tobago, recognizing that if you have strong, healthy individuals, strong, healthy families, you have a better Tobago and by extension, a better Trinidad and Tobago. And the investment continues. If we look at the Ministry of Public Utilities, and I would take you to WASA. My colleague Shamfa spoke about some of the investment made by WASA in Tobago. We have the ongoing construction of the Goldsboro Water Treatment Plant. When that plant is completed, persons in Far East Tobago can look forward to a better quality supply of water. And we all know water is life. If we talk about booster stations, we can look at the various communities in Tobago East as well as Tobago West where booster stations would have been established. Again, central government investing in the people of Tobago, investing in the island of Tobago to ensure that Tobago continues. Over the years, from 2015 to now, recognizing we needed to provide training opportunities for young people in Tobago, those persons who are at school and needed to get on-the-job training experience, we would have introduced what we call our student internship program at the Office of the Prime Minister, Central Administrative Services, Tobago. Over the period 2015 to last July-August holidays, we had 114 young persons in Tobago benefiting directly from this policy initiative that emerged from our central government through the Central Administrative Services Tobago. If we could further look at what CAST does for developing Tobago and ensuring stability within our communities, most persons aren't aware that CAST is responsible for meteorological services in Tobago. So we provide the information that helps us to ensure we have proper information as it pertains to weather. But not beyond that, we also ensure that our planes, aircrafts are able to land safely in Tobago by the investment we have made over the years. We have installed throughout the island of Tobago a series of automatic weather stations, providing Tobagonians or farmers, persons in the tourism industry with real-time, reliable weather information so that you can go about your business without having to worry about what would happen. We also, through the Met Services, introduced what we call the Met Platform, where you could get access information about your weather right in the palm of your hand by upgrading our Met app. At the Office of the Prime Minister, CAST, we would have also assisted a number of Tobagonians who required medical attention in Trinidad, but because the attention that they needed could not be found within the Tobago health system, and at times the THA could not afford to provide the transportation required to get them to Trinidad, CAST, through a rebate system, would have been able to assist countless Tobagonians to go to Trinidad, reimbursing them for the cost of their airline tickets so that they would be able to seek medical attention on the sister island. Again, this is your central government working on behalf of the people of Tobago. And if we talk about what would have been done through the Registrar General's Department, I hear them talk on the platform saying that IANA allowed them to move Registrar General from Tobago and put it back under the Attorney General office. Hogwash. When we got the swearing of the new cabinet, the Gazette came out, and I want to reassure the people of Tobago that CAST still has administrative responsibility for Registrar General services in Tobago. What we would have done is strengthen the collaborative relationship between CAST, Tobago Registrar General's office, as well as the Registrar General's office under the Attorney General to ensure that we could improve access to services for all of Tobago. So when they're telling you the lies and the mama guys on the platform, just watch them and laugh because all you know better. So under the Office of the Prime Minister, Central Administrative Services Tobago, we'd have ensured that we expanded the services far east at the Roxborough Administrative Building, ensuring that persons who live far east could access all that is required for them in terms of registration of births and deaths and other matters dealt with through the Registrar General's Department. And another thing I want to point out, CAST as an agent of the central government over the years, we have been providing support to a number of NGOs in Tobago available to Tobagonians through the central government under the non-profit institution vote out of the Office of the Prime Minister, Central Administrative Services Tobago. And I want to talk about some of the other things that have been happening, benefiting Tobagonians directly. When we recognized that we weren't getting the right response to gender-based violence in Tobago, another matter, ideally, which falls under the remit of the THA in Tobago, the Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs, decided to step in and start supporting our NGOs in Tobago, supporting our vulnerable women and our vulnerable groups in Tobago to help to curb instances of gender-based violence on our island. Over the years, We've ensured that we brought services to benefit our women in Tobago through CAST, collaborating with Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs, so that our women have the opportunity to live better lives right here, so that our men have the opportunity to live better lives right here, and our children also have the opportunity to live better lives right here in Tobago. So we partner with various NGOs and we partner with different agencies, and we brought to Tobago a Women's Economic Empowerment Village, giving them the opportunity to showcase their skills, their talents, and their businesses, giving them the opportunity to network and to create platforms where they could support each other to build businesses that are women-owned in Tobago and sustain our businesses. We also introduce a platform for men because we recognize men are meaningful contributors to development, and we need our men to recognize their role and their function in society and to continue to work with us to ensure a safe and stable society for all. So we introduced our Men's Bureau, and we came to Tobago hosting a men's forum, getting the views of all our Tobago men in helping us to shape this national initiative that would directly support men in Trinidad and Tobago to help them live better lives. And if I continue at the Office of the Prime Minister, I can speak of the work being done through the Children's Authority to safeguard children in Tobago. We established in Tobago our reception center. We established in Tobago our office facility where we could facilitate those children who might have been abused to ensure that they get the right attention to emerge better from their situation. And coincidentally, this month, April, is Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. And today I went across to the high school in Mason Hall, engaging children at Mason Hall Secondary School, asking them to become our national advocates in Tobago, to communicate to other children and other families and other communities, so that all of us join hands together in this fight to end child abuse in all its forms in our communities. And I'm very passionate about this, because as your member of parliament, the stories come to me. As your member of parliament, when I walk our communities and I engage with our young people, I hear the stories, and I want Tobago to change. I want Tobago East to be a safe haven for children. I want Tobago West to be a safe haven for children. And that is why I ensure that the Children's Authority would have been given the resources to operate fully in Tobago so that our children are well protected. Our children are our future. They are our greatest asset. And it's imperative that we focus on building our children. But while we do the work at Office of the Prime Minister, what we would have adopted over the years in Trinidad and Tobago to ensure that all our citizens, those in Tobago and those on the Sister Isle, benefit fully from all that is on offer from the national pie, is that we would have taken a whole of government approach. All ministries working in collaboration to benefit you. And I could speak to the work being done by the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, the Pink Rain campaign touching women in Trinidad and Tobago. We could speak to the Boss Lady Project, giving women the ability and the skills to emerge better from their situations by teaching them how to become financially independent, giving them skills so they could go out there and earn an honest dollar and care for their families. We could talk about the Ministry of Sports and Community Development, their sporting community program. Just recently in Pembroke, they were there partnering with the Pembroke Village Council, giving that community the opportunity to host for the 5th year, but this is the first time that they've had that meaningful level of collaboration. I want to thank Shamfa Kojo for that. This is the first time they had the opportunity to get direct funding from the Ministry of Sport and Community Development to host a bumper village league. And I felt proud when I saw every street in Pembroke coming out well supported, not only by those persons living in the community now, but seeing persons who would have moved out years ago coming back home to celebrate their community. And that is an initiative coming out of the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. Remember, I told you what we adopt is a whole of government approach. Every government ministry and agency working in collaboration to benefit the people of Tobago and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Again, from the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, through the Community Mediation Program, we have been frontally tackling crime and violence and conflict in communities by teaching our persons in our communities how to resolve conflicts in a more responsible manner. And we will expand that because just recently Cabinet approved Trinidad and Tobago's very first National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, developed by your Member of Parliament for Tobago, is working alongside my technical staff at the Office of the Prime Minister. And you know what is really proud? Why I'm really proud of this initiative? We are the first country in the Caribbean to develop a national action plan on women, peace and security, using all the tenets around women, peace and security to tackle violence in our communities. And one of the key programs that will come out of the Women, Peace and Security National Action Plan is an initiative called SPICE TT. And when I went to Cabinet to get this approved, I ensured, and with Shamfa sitting around the Cabinet table, we ensured at least 2 communities in Tobago would benefit. So while we roll out the National Action Plan through SPICE TT in Beetham, in Marabella Train Line, in Maloney, we will also roll out in Mount St. George and Golden Lane. When you have powerful women sitting around the table, then you get meaningful results. So when the man from up the road talk about baggage, let him know his place. We ain't baggage. We are women competent, skilled, with the ability, the knack, and the talent for negotiation around the Cabinet table. We have walked through the fire. We have sat around the table, negotiated on your behalf, and we have delivered. Shamfa, stand up and take a bow. They can't take that from me, no matter how they try. No matter how they talk about baggage, no matter how they talk about young girls, they can't take away the fact that we deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I hear them talking about wanting to go down in Parliament and fight. Parliament and a boxing ring. Parliament is not a boxing ring. The Parliament is a place where honorable people meet. The Parliament is a place where decent people meet. The Parliament is a place where we debate with class. Not this rubbish that they're doing over here and calling it plenary sitting. No offense, my brother. But they're talking about sending people down in Parliament to fight. When you have 2 ladies of class and character, we cutesy and we demure, but we always bring to the forefront, we always bring to the table the facts. From Tobago Autonomy Bill, to budget debate, to motions on child protection, to defending colleagues when motions of no confidence were brought, we contributed on the Parliament floor with class and grace, and we gave the Tobago perspective. So tell him man up the road to hush his out-of-place mouth for baggage. Parliament ain't no joke thing. Parliament needs serious people to do serious work. We have been doing the work. We have taken the time to train, to understand, to understudy. We have taken the time to develop and hone our debating skills. And we have a place now where we don't need to stand up in Parliament with a piece of paper. When debates come up and matters move us, we on the spot would ask the leader of the House to intervene, and without a written script, we deliver with style and class. I tell them, don't underestimate Ken Chuck and Barbara Pickney. I might look quiet, but don't mash my corn. Because the minute you make me vex, a different Ayana will emerge. But even when a different Ayana emerges, it's always an Ayana with class. And I've proudly stood in the gap for the people of Tobago East for almost 10 years. I have walked with you. Shamfa has stayed on the ground with you. We have delivered for you and on behalf of you consistently. Year on year, we see increasing allocations to the Tobago House of Assembly. Year on year, you will hear us through budget debates advocating on behalf of the people of Tobago when people on the other side saying Tobago getting too much. And you will hear Ayana and Shamfa getting up on the parliament floor and advocating for our people, telling them that Tobago should get what Tobago deserves. And you could attest to the performance and the delivery. So when they come to you with their mama guy, or you just run them. Just run them. Because you can't send two people down to go and practice now. Time's too hard. You need people who have the skills, the ability, and the proven track record. You can't take a chance on, should I say 2 men? You can't take a chance on a geriatric and a newbie. You can't take the chance on people who just don't know what it means to behave. Not talking about my good friend from up the road. You can't take the chance on people who don't know if they're coming or they're going. You have to keep your faith grounded in stability, proven performance. Tobago East, don't take bully faith to go search out for things where you can see clearly are there. You know what you have received from your member of parliament, from your MP's office over the years, food cards distributed at Christmas time through the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. We never ask anybody yet who you vote for. Once you come and they say, need help, we help you. And I could attest from a colleague in the West. Every year, hundreds of persons come into our offices and we're giving them the support. Every single year since COVID, every child in Tobago East who set the SCA exam would receive a chair package from the MP's office. Every single year since 2017, your member of parliament, recognizing the troubles our women would have been going through in Tobago East, established a Chai and Chat initiative. Many women from across Tobago attend, and we support each other, and we build each other through the Chai and Chat initiative. And when we recognize that our men had problems, we introduced the Hang Jack initiative to touch the men in our communities. And all you want to say, Ayana, and do the work? Man, take it easy. I will continue doing the work. Tobago East. Tobago East. I urge you all this evening to vote wisely. Vote for the team that has the people of Trinidad and Tobago at heart. Vote for the team that is competent to take this nation forward. Vote for a Prime Minister who has gone out there on the line, negotiated on our behalf, new contracts for oil and gas deals, and then the benefits going to come within a year or so. Vote for a team with the right type of leader. I looked at what the other side was offering us. She in some function trying to present the candidate for, she didn't know Vancouver, not Vancouver South. One thing I could tell you, that my political leader, and that is Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley nationally, and my Prime Minister, the Honorable Stuart Young, the Honorable Stuart Richard Young, yes, thank you, sister. They both can, without any fear, proudly identify each candidate and which constituency. Ain't no stuttering or sorry barrier. That ain't happening with them. They know what they're about. And my sister in service spoke about sober leadership. I have been watching the social media presentations by the other side. And on many occasions, I'm wondering, what is happening? Why is the leader on the other side slurring? What's going on there? And I've been confused because I've never heard my leader slur on any platform. I looked at a town hall meeting hosted by the other side, because I say the other side because it's really two options all you have here. Because if you vote PNM, you automatically vote in UNC. And I saw in a town hall a young lady asking the wannabe prime minister a question. And her response was, you think I have enough time to go through that? Another person asked her a question and she said, blah, blah, blah. I could guarantee you, any policy position that my Prime Minister, Stuart Richard Young, presents to you on a platform, he would be able to go in details. He would be able to break it down to its micro level and educate you. I could guarantee you that on any platform, you put my leader, you put my sister, even put me, and we will be able to stand up and debate with a piece of paper and give you the facts and show you how our policies will positively affect your lives. My brothers and sisters of Tobago, you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make. Your children and your children's children are counting on you to make the right choice. Future generations would hold you in scorn if you don't make the right choice on April 28th. And if you examine all being presented to you on offer, if you examine every candidate, every leader, every manifesto, at the end of your scrutiny, Team PNM will always come out on top. Because we built this nation. We created Trinidad and Tobago. We would have always stood in the gap for the people of this country. So you can rest assured that Team PNM will continue to work for you. People have asked me what it is that we mean when we say we all in. When we say we all in, we mean we coming to you hard with passion. We coming to you direct with our abilities. We coming to you straight up with our professional expertise. But most importantly, when we say we all in, we're coming to you as a team. And we're asking you to walk this walk with us. We're asking you to stay on this journey with us. All in. Your government representatives, your parliament representatives, holding the hands of every man, woman, boy, and girl in Trinidad and Tobago, and taking this journey of development together. When we say we all in, we mean we all in for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, brothers and sisters, on April 28th, brothers, put on their Gideon boots and get ready to march. Sisters, we got tighten we good last, beat me face nice. But what we know we're going out there and do is we ramming, we expire the Bally's Day. We ain't going and place it dainty now, we sending a message. We go ram, we expire the Bally's Day. And your candidate for Tobago East, none other than Ayanna Webster Roy. And your candidate, your standard bearer for Tobago West, my sister in service, Shamfa Akshaki Kojo, married to a Tobago East man, Lewis. Yes, yes. Brothers and sisters, once you do the right thing, once you vote wisely, once you vote with your children in your mind and your hearts, once you vote with your future at your focus, you would have placed your eggs by the Bally's. And come the night of April 28th, I jamming from Courtyard in Roxburgh straight down to council office. And when I jamming coming downtown, I singing, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the People's National Movement, and by God's grace, we would have prevailed. I thank you.
Mongrace, make some noise, make some noise. The candidate for Tobago is so powerful, the podium move. The podium shift. That is what we're talking about. Listen, brothers and sisters, there are options in this election, but there is only one choice. There are options, but there is only one choice. You know the choice that you have to make in Tobago East. When you ram it, make sure you put it in between the box and them on the ballot paper, so that they don't say there is a spoiled ballot, because we're counting every single ballot for Ayanna Webster Roy. And when you ram it in the West, we're counting every single ballot for Shamfa Kojo Lewis. PNM people, make no mistake on April 28th. Your future and the future of your children depend on it. You have two standard bearers that have proven themselves. They've proven themselves that they can do the work. Make sure we give them the support to continue the work after April 28th. Put your hands together again for a candidate for Tobago West and our candidate for Tobago East. Make some noise, people. And we want to put the icing on the cake this evening. They just call him Mr. Receipts. I don't know if he coming full fire tonight or he's just warming up. But brothers and sisters, a man who, when all others ran, stood up after we had a steep learning curve in December 2021, and has stood at the front of the Tobago Council. Sometimes I guess he feels he's all alone, but I know he's not all alone. Because the scripture says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for God is with me. And brothers and sisters, he has the support of the Tobago Council and the people of the PNM in Tobago and the people of the PNM in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Put your hands together as we bring to the podium at this time the political leader of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, former Chief Secretary, former Senator. Make some noise, people, from our Ansel Dennis.
Let me see your flags. Last. But Bukumang plays, and I ain't come to sing, I come to talk. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me recognize your candidate for Tobago East, Member of Parliament current and Member of Parliament after April 28th, Mrs. Ayanna Webster Roy. Candidate for Tobago West, and after April 28th, she will also continue to be your Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Mrs. Shamfa Kojo Lewis. Minority Leader, Assemblyman Kelvon Morris, and tonight's Youth Speaker, give a lusty round of applause, making her debut, I believe, on the platform tonight, Ms. Shanae John. And last but not least, I want to recognize all the executive members of the PNM Tobago Council, PNM supporters, fellow Tobagonians. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. And as I sat there, it dawned on me that I am actually in a position of political leader of the Tobago Council, leading what is in fact my first election campaign. And I want to assure you that while I am not a candidate in this election, I will be leading the fight and I will be fighting this election as if my life depended on it. And I want to say to us, in fact, all of our lives depend on this particular general election in 2025, and I'll tell you why. This election is between two political parties. The Great People's National Movement and the corrupt, thieving United National Congress. But of course, the United National Congress, they are contesting 39 seats in Trinidad. And therefore, many Tobagonians and many persons across this country tend to assume that the UNC has no interest in Tobago. But I want to say to all of you without fear of contradiction, the TPP is the agent of the UNC. They are in fact the representatives of the UNC in Tobago in this election. And history will tell us that it is not the first time that Tobago and Tobagonians are in this position. Because I want you to take your minds back to the period 2010 to 2015, where we had, running for office at the time, a people's partnership led by Mrs. Kamla Persad Bissessar of the UNC. And openly embracing that partnership was the leader of the TOP in Tobago, Ashworth Jack. And of course, the people of Trinidad and Tobago voted, democracy prevailed, and when the ballots were counted, the People's Partnership formed the government. And during that period, we had two MPs coming out of Tobago. For Tobago West, it was Dr. Delmon Baker, and in Tobago East, it was Mrs. Vanilla Allen Toppin. And I want you all to cast your minds back and recall what transpired in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago and in Tobago during that period. Because by the time we got to the end of that term, our Tobago East MP was known as Shopping Toppin. And I will not repeat what the Tobago West MP was known as. And the fact remains that those two individuals partnered with the UNC to form the People's Partnership government. They took Tobago's 2 seats and partnered with the UNC, and we benefited nothing of significance over those 5 years. As a matter of fact, if you remember clearly, it was the most scandalous government ever to grace not only Trinidad and Tobago, but the Caribbean. But it was not the first time that the 2 Tobago seats were used to place in office a corrupt government. Because go back to 1995, the result of the election was 17-17-2. And of course, the late A.N.R. Robinson and Miss Pamela Nicholson took our 2 Tobago seats to form government with the United National Congress. And they want to talk about the Tobago Airport, the spanking new Tobago Airport facility that was opened just a few days ago. But recall that in 1996, the UNC government attempted to build an airport in Trinidad. And the airport that was budgeted at $400 million turned out to be $1.6 billion. And coming out of that arrangement, coming out of that corrupt arrangement, you should recall that a Minister of Finance, Brian Kwaitang, a former Minister of Finance as part of that government, had to go before the courthouse to answer questions. I am sure you remember the late Ishkal Baran Singh and Steve Ferguson having to face the courts locally and abroad to answer questions relating to their conduct in that airport project. Our 2 Tobago seats were used to enable that government and that period of massive corruption. But A.N.R. Robinson, when he became the president, he had one opportunity to redeem himself. Because guess what? There was another tied election, 1818 this time. And he said to the people of this country, speaking as President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, that he will not participate in encouraging bad habits. And therefore he removed Basio Pandey from government and installed Patrick Manning as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And then the second time around, you, the people of Tobago, decided that you were going to support an open partnership with the UNC because you voted resoundingly for Delmon Baker in the West and resoundingly for Vanilla Allen Toppin in the East. And the question has to be asked, what did that benefit Tobago? Of course, it benefited people like Rudal Munilal. It benefited Kamla Prasad Bisesa. It benefited a number of contractors, many of them having to answer questions before the courts relating to the conduct of that People's Partnership government during that period. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction, if you examine Tobago at that time from Crown Point to Charlottesville, the only project you could find in Tobago delivered by the People's Partnership government was the Meteorological Center down in Crown Point. That was all they delivered to the people of Tobago for that 5-year period. In addition to that, they established a Ministry of Tobago Development and hired their supporters and friends and family and had them doing the exact work and responsibilities that were supposed to be discharged by the Tobago House of Assembly. So you had a Tobago House of Assembly led by Orville London at the time, and then you had a Ministry of Tobago Development operating like a parallel THA. And I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago, if we are honest with ourselves, we did not benefit in 1995 when we gave them the 2 Tobago seats, and we did not benefit in 2010 when Ashworth Jack gave them the 2 Tobago seats. Because look at it, and look at it well. All we got, and I will repeat it again, was the Meteorological Center down at Crown Point. And of course, somewhere up on this side in Mount St. George, one lucky fella got a pumpkin house. But in came the PNM, because we came to you with a team led by the Tobago-born Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. And we held out to the people of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. And for the people of Tobago specifically, we brought to you these 2 young ladies. Green at the time, Ayana in particular, was very inexperienced. And I remember clearly she came out of the Tobago House of Assembly as coordinator for community development and was selected by the People's National Movement as the candidate for Tobago East. And Shamfa Kojo Lewis, having gained significant experience in the Senate, was selected as the PNM's candidate for Tobago West. And we said to you, the people of Tobago, we're sending these two young ladies not to necessarily fight up, because there is a difference between fighting and fighting up. And I want to say to you that over the last 9 years, since we sent them in 2015, these two young ladies have been fighting for the people of Tobago. Because you see, there is a difference between getting into Parliament to talk for 45 minutes once a week, because that is your speaking time. Because if you're lucky to get into the Parliament, most times the Parliament will meet once per week, sometimes more often depending on the requirements of whatever is on the agenda. And if you get in there, your speaking time is about 40 to 45 minutes. And when you go to the Parliament, you actually have to debate. The Speaker might allow you to read your speech once or twice, but by the third time, you have to debate. And I've been observing the sittings of the Tobago House of Assembly, and I can say to you without fear of contradiction that Joel Notsi Sampson has never debated in his life. Go back and check it. From December the 6th, 2021 to now, Joel Notsi Sampson is still reading his speech in the Tobago House of Assembly with a script. And I'm saying to you, is that who you want to send to the Parliament to fight? Because before you begin to fight, you first have to learn to debate. So they want to go along there to fight for you. Joel Sampson, and of course, David Thomas, but I will deal with David Thomas at another occasion. Because during this period, I will have the opportunity to talk to you 16 times, so I'm taking my time. But Joel Notsi Sampson wants to go to the Parliament and fight. But isn't that why we elected him in December of 2021? Wasn't it to fight for you, the people of Tobago? Well, let me tell you what he and Farley and friends have been up to. They have been fighting against the people of Tobago. Because let us start with CPEP. One of the first decisions made by the Executive Council under this current THA administration was to fire 46 workers from CPEP. Then they went to the Division of Infrastructure and fired 30 more. Then they went to the Division of Health and fired a couple people there as well. And over that period, they have fired approximately 300 Tobagonians. Where was Joel Sampson to fight for you? He sat as part of an executive council making those decisions to take bread out of the mouths of you, the people of Tobago. And of course, Joel Sampson was also part of that executive that made a decision to take our entire development budget, sideline the Tobago contractors, close down Tobago business, to send them down to their UNC friends in Trinidad. Where was Joel Sampson? Sitting under Trevor James. Sitting under Trevor James like a dumb dog in Jerusalem. Nothing to say, nothing to do when our money was being sent away and shipped away to Kamla's people in Trinidad. Where was Joel Sampson? He had one project to do in his constituency, in his electoral district of Bonaccord, Crown Point. There was a situation right opposite Cocoa Reef where we used to have a puddle of water, just a little puddle. Joel Sampson spent $3 million and gave a contract to a contractor to talk about the building drain. And I'm sure all of you have realized that every single time rain falls, there is a river, a new feature, and they call it Notsi River. But that is the same man who is telling you to send him to Trinidad to fight for you. And I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago East, and the people of Tobago West, you already have capable fighters in the persons of Ayanna Webster Roy and Shamfa Cudjoe Lewis. Because you see, when people fighting up, they just pelt lash, you know, like a drowning man, and he grasping and he just pelting lash. You don't know when people can't fight. When people could fight, they position themselves properly, and they dodge when they have to dodge, and they punch when they have to punch, and they jab when they have to jab. But at the end of the day, real fighters always ensure that they win the battle. And they always ensure that when they go into battle, they come out with results. And therefore, of course, as members of parliament, they had the opportunity to speak on behalf of the people of Tobago in the parliament, and they did so exceedingly well. But as members of cabinet of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, they sat around the table and they had to negotiate and fight on behalf of the people of Tobago. Because in the context of government, there is a limited pool of money available to spend in this country. And therefore, while we may want an airport in Tobago, the MP and whoever minister is in cabinet from Trinidad, and of course, you have more Trinidadians than Tobagonians in the cabinet. Somebody want a port in Toko, and somebody want a waterfront project in San Fernando, and somebody want a community center in Tunapuna. And therefore, your MPs had to sit amongst their cabinet colleagues and demonstrate to their colleagues as to why the people of Tobago should get an airport, as to why the people of Roxborough should get a new hospital, as to why the people of Roxborough should get a new police station, and of course, another new police station in Sherburne. So they have had to go to cabinet every week to sit there and make decisions on behalf of you, the people of Tobago, and you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, the question is, do you want to give that up at this point in time? Do you want to sacrifice your position now, where we have our 2 MPs representing the PNM government in the cabinet, to go and take your vote and give it to Notsi and Tomo up in the east, where there are 2 possibilities? Because if, God forbid, and they win 1 or 2 seats, I can say to you that they will be giving those seats to none other than the United National Congress. Because you see, while Ashworth Jack was very open with it, Ashworth Jack didn't hide. Ashworth Jack was holding and propping up Kamla right here in Tobago. I remember there was an event in Tobago, I remember it like it was yesterday. Kamla Prasad Bisesa came to Tobago stone drunk. And they took her up on stage and the lady could barely stand, you all remember? And it was Ashworth Jack at her side, making sure that she could stand up and present herself to the people of Tobago. So Ashworth Jack didn't hide. But Farley Augustine is quietly negotiating and partnering with the UNC. And it didn't start now, it started since December of 2021. Because as soon as they got into office, their first order of business was to ensure they repay the UNC contractors for the support that was given to them during the Tobago House of Assembly election. And I will tell you more about that as the campaign goes on. So I want to say to you, the people of Tobago, Tobago East, you have a formidable representative in Mrs. Ayanna Webster Roy. And she came here this evening and she properly defended her track record. And if you are honest with yourselves, you must admit that the rate of development that took place in Tobago East during the period 2015 to 2025 exceeded every other period in history. And of course, Shamfa Kojo Lewis in Tobago West as Minister of Community Development and Sport. And we all know that she's a far better Minister of Sport than the obnoxious Annie Roberts. But it is my firm belief and opinion that this lady is the best Minister of Sport and Community Development we have had in this country. And therefore, I want to say to you, the people of Tobago, and to you, the people in the PNM in particular, that the decision as to who you should vote on April the 20th should be an easy one. You have the PNM, 41 candidates in this election, and that means that we mean business, because we intend to get into government to continue the development of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And then the other options, well, I wouldn't even mention Kizel and Basjo Pandey daughter and Unity of the People. Not worth mentioning. So of course the other options, I'm not even going to mention the PDP. Fairly mash that up fine. The other option, the TPP, of course the color is blue, but they are the representatives of the UNC in Tobago. And those are the options. So I'm saying to you, when you go to vote, and even before you get to voting, we have a few days to ensure that we convince the people of Tobago what is at stake. Because I'm hearing a lot of people taking on some promises, who promising 10% as a start for salary increase, who promising 20%, who promising stricter crimes for domestic violence, all kinds of promises. And I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago, do not be fooled again. Once is enough. Because in December of 2021, you voted for promises. You voted for 3,000 jobs in 6 months. You voted for $10,000 ex gratia. You voted for them to fix everything. You voted for permanent jobs for doctors and nurses. Permanent jobs for CPEP and URP. Remember that? They were going to done away totally with contract employment. You all voted for all of that. Where is it? They promised Tobago first. Are you the people of Tobago first at this point in time? They promised development. Look across Tobago and tell me what development have you seen since the PNM left office. So they fool you in December. You're willing to take that stupid bait again? So do not be fooled, people of Tobago. And I'm saying to us as PNM people, I don't care how afraid you all are. Because I hear some all afraid. Some all afraid, all your loss, all your work. Some all afraid, all you ain't gonna get no opportunities under this current THA administration. But I want to say to all of you, God will provide. And yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fear no evil, fear no man, fear no folly, fear no fate, fear no Trevor, fear no TPP in the THA, because God is with you. And I want to give you the assurance that God is with the PNM, because we mean well for this country. We have come to you honestly on every occasion with the same color, the same name, no sinister motives, no unholy alliances. We have always come to you purely as the People's National Movement. And we tell you what we intend to do. We don't make promises that we can't deliver. So I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago, ensure that on April the 28th, and leading up to that period, that you do what is necessary. Take the TV, take the stove, take the washing machine. Take the car if they want to buy a car for you. And for those young men, if they want to rent car for a little drive for the next 30 days, drive the car, but make sure you pick up PNM people to vote. So take all they have to offer. Because I can tell you over the next few days, UNC money will be flowing in Tobago like water, just like 2013. But remember in 2013, notwithstanding all of that, we voted them out in the east. We voted against them in the west. We voted against them in the north. We voted against them in the south. And at the end of the day, the People's National Movement won the THA 12-0. So I'm saying when the time comes again on April the 28th, take all that they have to offer, but ensure you vote for Ayanna Webster Roy in the east and vote for Shamfa Kojo Lewis in the west, so that at the end of that night, we all will be able to say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
Brothers and sisters, make some noise for the political leader of the Tobago Council. Make some noise for your platform of speakers this evening. I don't know about you, the race is on. But we're heading to April 28th out front. It's going to be short, sharp, and shocking. We're going to have some long nights, but we're here for the results on April 28th. Brothers and sisters, all roads lead tomorrow evening to Lescato Junction for a spot meeting. Brothers and sisters, pay close attention to your WhatsApp, and the messages will come concerning our meetings and our walks. We look forward to walking with you. We look forward to standing with you. And we look forward to speaking with you night after night and bringing the issues about good governance to Trinidad and Tobago to you. So get home safe. But remember, on April 28th, the only choice you have is the People's National Movement. God bless you. Be safe. And you'll hear from us again very soon. Have a pleasant night, everyone.